Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the third and final race of the evening. It is, of course, the Tier 2 division for Round 4 of AFR Season 7 here around at the Baku City Circuit. And hopefully we're in for a real thriller, just like Tier 3 and Tier 1 before. Circuit now on your screens now, ladies and gentlemen. 6 kilometers, 3.7 miles, 20 turns with a 75% chance of a safety car. We've seen lots of safety cars already this evening, and we'll be hoping for many, many more. Let's have a look back into the past at Season 5. Artanis Jackson having a little bit of a stall off the start line and getting absolutely mugged, and well, you can just see how important the start is, even though it is one of the shortest runs into the first corner on the F1 calendar. You don't want to be starting your race off in that kind of fashion. Also now, up into Season 6, we have Anarchy and Shane Mumford. Anarchy there in the Mercedes, getting a little bit tangled up at the second corner. Very hard to go side by side through, especially with the raised curb in this year's game. Back to Season 5 now, we have Smitty and Simdogger. Smitty in the AlphaTauri looking around the outside of Turn 3, and boy oh boy, this was a really great battle back in Season 5. The first season on F1 2020, you see Smitty, the the AlphaTauri driver, going up the inside into 4, which becomes the outside for 5. Simdogger has a little bit of look around the outside, but locks up that front left and has to slot in behind the AlphaTauri. Smitty would then go on eventually to win that race. Season 6 now, last season, Nemo getting into a whole spot of below the Alfa Romeo, losing his entire front wing at the fast right-hander of turn 14, and the VSC being brought out on that occasion. Season 5 now, Simdogger, or Spindogger as he was known back in the days, turned 17, getting it all wrong in the traction zone, one of the most important traction zones on the entire calendar, as you carry that speed all the way down the 2.1 kilometer long main straight. And then Season 5, turn 19, Hobbsy in the Ferrari getting it all wrong, having a little bit of a spin and crashing out on this occasion. That brought out the full safety car, and we've had no shortage of safety cars already this evening. And of course, with the first season with no ghosting and sim damage, it's going to be a massive challenge for all these drivers to make it through cleanly. Now, I'm going to bring it over to Mr. Sebastian. Seb, how are you doing ahead of this Baku season? Well, Baku race.
Very, very good, Miko. How are you yourself?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely amazing. We've had 2 already cracking races in Baku, two lap sprints, with the safety cars. But it looks like clear skies for the start of qualifying for Tier 2. I'm sure that will be quite a relief to some of the other drivers. And we'll just get the standings up on your screens now, ladies and gentlemen, because we do actually have some standings graphics for you this time, courtesy of our main streamer man, Mr. Kunai. So Apollo Pepsi, after a very disappointing Monaco round, still leads the championship with those 2 perfect races in Bahrain and Spain. He leads the championship with 52 points, ahead of Quantum Effect with 27. Gotten a bit of drama. Actually, no, it goes like a grid, sorry. Our Wingman is second with 33, followed by his teammate Quantum with 27 in third. Combat Rad in fourth with 23 points, ahead of Keeper with a strong start to the season thus far, tied with Mr. Spicer, and the 2 McLarens as well, said with Mancamp ahead of Nut technically in the standings. Skins and Anacut round out the top 10 thus far with 18 and 17 points apiece, ahead of Decelerator and Mika, both with 16, and then the 2 AlphaTauris with 6 points apiece, those being Psycho and Saxa. Vasa with 2 points, Kalios with 1 point, and Bully, Nemo, King J, and Anarchy yet to score in this one. Now, Seb, Baku City Circuit has the tendency to always throw out something special. We've already seen it twice this evening. 16 minutes left in qualifying, and it looks like it's going to be a dry affair for this 18-minute short qualifying session. So we're going to see quite a few fast lap times. Maybe not as fast as the 36-1 that Hero did 90 minutes ago, but some impressive times have come from this grid nonetheless.
Yeah, and ridiculous time from Hero, to be honest. You've got 60 plus gear changes around this lap, 20 corners as you said before, 12 to the left, 8 to the right. So tyre wear pretty balanced, but however, we'll see fairly rear heavy setups around here as per usual, but the tyres on the rears take a fair bit of beating. A lot of heavy traction zones required that you get a good launch out of a lot of corners. But,
well, Seb, why don't you take us on board? Combat Rat, one of your teammates, and congratulations with your return, by the way. Amazing finish. But take us around a lap with Combat Rat around the Baku City Circuit as he goes down into turn 3.
Thanks, Miko. You saw 1 and 2, just avoid those curbs because they can be fairly dangerous. Brakes on that outside curve, avoiding that inside curve. A lot of these inside curves tend to lift up and they can unsettle the balance of the car and tend to cost you time. just try and kiss it, use all the track possible with the car flirting out to the wall and then back to the right hand side. This very difficult left and right. That is turns 5 and 6, very hard to get as you start the second sector. Traction tough out of 6, but you got to hone it in for turn number 7 over this right hand curb. Second gear, get up through the gears now. Tough castle section. We've seen so many incidents here, especially in tier 1. Whole lot of kerfuffle happening there. Third gear, fourth gear, just don't go too wide, that will invalidate your lap time. Well, actually not invalidate your lap time, but by etiquette you should not be going out there because that is crossing the white lines. 13, 14, not really corners, into 15, tough braking zone, don't really take that inside curb because it tends to throw you into that right hand side wall. Into 16, the last real corner on the track when it's dry. Clip that inside curb, get over these
look at this,
outside curbs. A little bit of a toe, we saw that in tier 1. This is very key right now. You see purple sector 2, although he is the first car out. Skin giving him a bit of help. 8th gear, 40% left in the area. DRS open, and that will be your lap here in Baku.
Well, let's see what the opening time is. It is going to be a 1 minute 38.1. Not a bad banker from the Williams driver as his teammate Skin starts a lap. Quantum Effect, the second time on the board at 1:38.7, and actually we missed it while as Combat was doing his lap. Mr. Spicer actually out of the session already without setting a lap time. He had a spin at turn 2, getting a little bit too eager on the power. So very unfortunate for the Alpine driver. He'll be trying to do the last of first challenge. Who should we ride on board with? Let's run on board with Andocat as he makes his way into turn 15. Ando putting a lot of practice in all week and has showed some really strong pace thus far, just hasn't quite been able to convert it in the races yet.
Yeah, exactly right. He hasn't been able to put the night together. Isn't that right, Mikhail? He's kind of struggled a bit. He's shown the pace, especially Bahrain when he spun out of turn 10 and DNF'd, and then, you know, Spain and Monaco weren't that too great either, getting involved in some incidents, not driving the cleanest as possible, but he's shown that pace. He had that P2 quality in Monaco. He's about to cross the line and do a 37, Mikhail. That's what we should expect of these top drivers in tier 2.
Yeah, so 37.5, the first of what is the front runners in this one. Apollo Pepsi, 141.1 on the medium compound tyre. Good enough for second last out of the drivers that have set a time thus far. Another one of those front runners. Well, it's the runner-up in the championship standings at the moment, Seb, and he's a Red Bull driver. It's Wingman, and he's coming through the final sector right now.
Yeah, Red Bull rule the roads at the moment, Mikhail. They lead the Constructors' Championship. It's by about 8 points over really the one-man Ferrari team. Bully really needs to bring it together to help Pepsi out. Pepsi will be looking to bounce back after in the DNF last week. Here comes Wingman, though, into the 37s. So times popping up the boards, just getting their times out, though, Mika. So we will see those times come down eventually. We might even see 36s out of maybe Wingman and Autocat, and even Pepsi. Pepsi, obviously, qualified on the mediums.
Yeah, 38.4 on the medium compound tyre for the number 28 Ferrari. Very nicely done. He's going to come back with a vengeance after how his Monaco race. I'm so sad I missed Monaco, man. I mean, it was a crazy race. But yeah, unfortunately couldn't stream that one. That lovely bait mate helping out.
Yeah, well, it was an interesting race because it was between borderline no action, but the action was still there in that there was a close battle happening. That's just Monaco at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. The hardest track to overtake on is what you're going to get.
Meanwhile, one of the McLarens there, Nut, he's on a flying lap at the moment. I see his teammates slowing down around turn 14, 15. It's a little bit far. He's going to have to slow down quite a lot if he wants to give his fellow admin a tow. See how Nut handles this castle section.
Yeah, Band has done a lap, so I wouldn't be surprised. He is waiting. Yeah, he's going to give him a tow. I suspect he's waiting up so much. I just think he needs to slow down a bit more so he's not caught on track.
Well, we've seen how powerful the tow has been all night, so I mean, the rumor is that a perfect tow up down that final sector is something like 3, maybe even 3.5 tenths. But, you know, I think that tow honestly is a bit overstated because we saw Hero do that amazing lap time with a 36.1 and he had no tow whatsoever on that lap, just, you know, really hooked up the corners. But here we go. This is a very nice tow from the McLaren guys. You can see the team chemistry they have there, obviously being good mates for quite a long time, very high up in the ranks here at AFR, and it's going to only be 15th for Nut, unfortunately. Maybe he had a bit of an issue throughout the lap. It certainly would have helped his case, but yeah, disappointing time for the McLaren drivers so far.
Yeah, disappointing time. Kalios, I believe, is on a hot run. This is ERS, and this is about to go on one. I'm not too sure. No, he's not.
Fuel light on.
Yeah.
The yellow
Believe
flag
the same for him.
at turn 7. That's one of the Mercedes. That's Keeper. He is facing the Pirelli sign, Seb, and completely blocking the road.
Yeah, well, he's lucky there's no cars coming up. There's no cars behind him within Sector 2. You can see the little squall of cars coming through to the end of Sector 1 now, but very lucky that wasn't blocking the road. I mean, I was blocking the road for a couple of cars, I believe, at the end of that Tier 3 quali, and I was lucky enough to be in the same voice chat as one of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with no ghosting in this session, especially like this season at tracks like Monaco, at tracks like Baku, and when we get to Singapore a bit later in the year, also at Singapore, is that in those really, really tight sections, if a car spins, of course, reset to track not technically allowed by the rules and regulations here at AFR, you can really be in a spot of bother because that's a quali lap done. And that can cost you quite a few positions like we saw last week in Monaco, particularly in Tier 1 with the Wahid's moment at the swimming pool. The Keeper, he's about to start a lap, Seb. Just gearing things up. Keeper's had a pretty strong start to the season. Definitely a dark horse in my eyes. Has shown some incredible pace and some decent consistency, which is a first for him, not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly. The first for him. It's just his internet's got to hold up, which it seems to be doing, Mikhail. So good to see. He sits in that little squabble for 4th place. The fight for 4th. Combat Rat leads that. He's on 23 points. Keeper, Mr. Spicer, Band, and Nut, all on 22 points. See those two McLarens down in 9th and 15, not showing it in a lot of pace, but that's just how they drive. They don't tend to show a lot of pace. They tend to keep it clean in the race and pick up the points where people tend to fall apart. And also we have Skins and Cat, as we were talking before, trailing closely on 18 and 17 points respectively. So we have a really tight field in Tier 2, and that's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, those two McLarens, I just want to talk about them for a little bit, as it looks like the Mercedes might be trying to set up a little bit of a tow. I see Anarchy slowing off a bit. Their race strategy, it's always been, they haven't had the fastest cars, they haven't been the fastest drivers on the track, but they've always been able to somehow, some way, stay out of trouble. And this is the circuit for that. Baku is like the perfect circuit for that, because something crazy always happens here. Whether that's in league racing or the real-life Formula 1 season, something crazy always happens here at Baku, so I'm expecting great things from McLaren going into this 26-lap race. And now that I've said that, they're probably going to both crash at the castle, but we'll keep going on here. Keeper, we've been running on board with the Mercedes this entire time. We'll see how good this tow is. One of the faster drivers now on this grid as Anarchy pulls over into the pit lane. What's the time going to be? It's only good enough for 17th. A bit disappointing.
Maybe he might bring it together in the race, but we did see him miss a lot of perfect lines throughout the lap, especially at turn 1 we saw. He didn't really use all of that exit, but as you said, you might have just jinxed the Mick out. Might have just.
Yeah, maybe. Meanwhile, looks like a lot of drivers are going for their second runs. Looks like Mika just shooting up into 7th place with a nice tow from his teammate, who has just started a lap in front of him. Mika with a 1:38.569. About a 10th and a half away from Apollo Pepsi in front of him. But of course, Apollo's time, I think that is on the mediums.
Yeah, that's correct. Still hasn't done that soft run yet, but I think he might be on one now.
Well, 6.5 minutes left in the session. If you're just joining us, welcome. You're just in time to see the third and final race of the night for AFR Season 7, round number 4 around the streets of Baku. Combat 2 tenths up, as we're looking at him right now. Purple sector 2 apparently, but unless he has a ripper of a final sector and has some kind of straight line hacks on that car, he's not beating that Aston Martin currently sitting in provisional pole, but it could be good enough to maybe get himself onto the front row. We'll see in a bit, Seb.
See in a bit indeed as he crosses the line. Doesn't look like he's improved too much, only half a tenth in there, so
I think that was the
all
toe.
down.
That was all the toe. Oh, we have a yellow
Pepsi.
flag. One of the Aston Martin, that is Andocat going very slowly.
And Mika, just pulling out the way of a pass. Pepsi, I believe, is up 9 tenths in his time. About to cross the line now, Mick.
We'll see what the Ferrari driver is able to do. It is second place by only 0.02 of a second between himself and Andocat, a 1:37.567. It looks like the two Aston Martins about to start a lap. Looks like Mika's trying to give Ando a head start with the top speed. Don't know how much that's going to affect him. Meanwhile, as a Haas that just came across the line, I think that was King J up in the 6th place. Yes, it was. A nice time from the Haas there. They're 38.319.
Yeah, that toe's not going to entirely help you. It might gain you about 300ths of a second
Oh, if
from that
that.
start-finish line to turn 1. Yeah, if that. So it normally just throws you off into the turn 1 brakings. It's not normally what you're used to. But we'll see what he can hook up here. Looks like a pretty good lap so far. The rear's twitching on him a bit through 3, now 4. Short shifting up, slamming that foot all down. Looking good so far. He's down though, Mikhail. He is down. So a lot of time to find it at the moment.
Yeah, slightly missed the apex of turn 6, has the Aston Martin driver. Meanwhile, I just want to point your attention to Kalios, who crossed the line not too long ago. He's now on the 2nd row of the grid with a 1 minute 37.740, getting very, very tight for those 4 drivers into the 1 minute 37s. We should be seeing sometimes quite a bit quicker than that. I know that Psycho, his goal was to get as close to the 37s as he possibly could. And we'll see how things go. Yellow flags being shown temporarily for the slow-moving McLaren at turn 15. We'll see what the second sector split is. He's about even, just under a 10th up on his time, but it's all about this exit into this final section. I think he might actually lose time because he doesn't have a toe on this occasion.
Yeah, I think he might even call it in the pits, because look at the timer, Mikhail. 3 minutes 47 left on the board. You'd almost want to go to the pits, and go out for maybe that last run. I think that might be what he's doing, and it is. Pulling into the pits.
Well, who haven't we rode on board with yet this session? I think we should give Anarchy some screen time. He's currently on a flying lap. Nut has just started one as well. Currently both sitting at the bottom of the timing sheets, of course ahead of Mr. Spicer, who unfortunately had a very early crash at turn 2. He'll be starting from the back of things. A bit reserved from the Mercedes driver, but he's... Let's see what the split is as he comes through. He's up half a second, so it's been a pretty easy time. He's on track to beat his teammate and jump up to 17th, but it'll be a bit hard to get anywhere further than that, especially with the nature of this final sector set.
Yeah, exactly right. Now it's just pedal to the metal, foot to the floor, DRS open, and it's just the waiting game. Yeah, it's just about a fraction of a tenth, but at the end of the day, it's still about 300ths of a second down that straight if you mistime it just by a little bit.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for the Mercedes. Only can manage to move up one spot. The 1 minute 40.2. His teammate right behind him, actually getting a toe into turn 3. You don't see this one very often, Seb.
You don't. You really don't. Sometimes you might see it when they're both doing runs. So that, for example, Keeper's doing his run now. He'll give a toe to Anarchy on the next lap, but Anarchy's just done his lap, so it's surprising, but he's up 7/10, so that's a good sign for Keeper.
Well, we've seen a lot of McLaren, we've seen a lot of Aston Martin, and we've seen a lot of Mercedes. Why don't we go on board with someone completely different? Someone like
Red
Nemo.
Bull? Oh, Nemo, yeah, we haven't been on board with him. He's up 4/10 as well, Mikhail.
Yeah, 4/10, that would put him right in the mix with the 2 Williams cars. We'll see how this final sector has gone. I apologise, it's not really interesting to see a car just fly down the straight with a yellow flag at turn 3 as well as at turn 14, briefly. 90 seconds left in the session, so this will be the final run for the Clownfish, and there he goes, 5th place for the Alpine driver. Not bad, a 1 minute 37.945, the 5th driver to go into the 1 minute 37. So
tell you what, Mikhail, the Red Bulls have just done a perfect toe for Wingman, who's put it on pole by a 10th.
Oh, very, very nicely done. So the gauntlet has been set. The challenge has been set. Androcat is backing up the field at turn 16. And we have, looks like a little bit of queue forming there with the AlphaTauri and the 2 Ferraris. We'll see how things go as there is less than 1 minute remaining in the session. We'll get one more different livery for this final run. Let's go, maybe not decelerate. We'll have to keep an eye on him, but let's go on board with his teammate Seb Vasser as he goes into the middle sector.
And also get that car wide, hook it into the corner. As he's taken that very well, 5 very well. He got really close to the inside wall. Didn't take 6 perfectly, but it's good enough just to keep time on the board. You see him go through the castle, slam down that throttle, probably using medium traction control. as I once did.
Very careful through the castle section.
Yeah, you can see him just holding down that brake, trying to keep it out of the wall. He doesn't have that much confidence in them. You can tell when someone holds the brake down that much that they are really pressing for grip.
Well, this isn't exactly the time to be cautious as there are 2 seconds left on the clock. So whoever's out for a flying lap now, this will be the last runs. And it will be, Vasa will be one of the first cars to cross the line. I think that's Quantum ahead of him though. So we'll quickly jump up with the Red Bulls. As you were saying, Red Bull getting the team tactics out. 2 very, very quick drivers. Definitely one of the favorites for the Constructors Championship in this division and the combined Constructors as well. 8th place for Quantum as he crosses the line. Now Vasa, what can he manage as he's been pushed down to the back 10? Can he improve? Yes, he does, up into 10th place. And Mika has retired. Where's that at? Turn 19.
Turn 19, so I dropped it somewhere. Ando Cat is on for a flyover, Mikko. He's up 4/10 in his lap time. Looking at pole here.
Well, we'll see if he's able to keep it cool. And there's his teammate right in the middle of the road, Seb. It eventually gets cleared before the AlphaTauri makes his way to it there. Yellow flags, of course, down this main straight. We'll see what the time is from Endo. Is it a 36? No, not quite. But it's still a very, very fast time of 1:37.086 for the Aston Martin. Apollo Pepsi can only manage second best with a 1:37.4 right behind him. And it looks like Decelerate in the other Alfa Romeo about to cross line. He'll be the next to set his final run. What's it going to be? It's 11th place for the Alfa Romeo driver, right next to his teammate in 10th and 11th. One of the Haas's coming across, that was King J. He stays in 9th place. And Kalios, the last driver to set a competitive lap time as Skins has had an issue on his lap. What's the time going to be for the Haas driver? He improves, but not by enough. He'll stay in 4th place. So it is Anocat on a pole position for the 4th round of AFR Season 7 Tier 2. And looking at the time, Seb, we're going to have quite the thriller on our hands, I'm sure of it.
Quite the thriller indeed. We can see some different packs kind of forming up. We have the top 7 within a second of each other, and then we have, I believe, the next 7 within a second of each other as well. And if you look down the field, in 11th and 12th, we have Decelerate and Mika, the only 2 drivers in Tier 2 to have scored in every single race this season.
Well, hopefully they're able to continue that trend going into this one. Of course, Baku, very unpredictable race, and it's it's a little bit of luck is required, but lots of skill to keep it out of the walls and to stay confident in the car underneath you. So it is Anocat on pole position with, oh, excuse me, with a 1:37.0. About 3.5 tenths ahead of Pepsi, followed by Wingman and Kalios, the front 2 rows. Nemo and Skins in 5 and 6. Combat, Quantum, King J and Vasa, your top 10 with Decelerate, Mika, Psycho, Saxa, Keeper, Bully, Bandcap, Nut, Anarchy, and unfortunately Mr. Spicer starting at the back. Now, let's talk strategy for a bit, Seb, as I try to clear my throat a little bit. What are we expecting from this back 10 at the moment?
Oh, expecting mediums from most of them, but maybe a couple of soft runners in there just to try and spice things up, get some early positions, maybe catch themselves onto the back of a DRS train that will pull them along down the road. There's a very good chance of safety cars, as we saw the pre-race graphic, 75% chance for a full safety car, 75% chance for a virtual safety car. So there's always places to lose time in your pit stops, and there's a good chance that it might not matter what tyres you start on.
Well, it's pretty luck of the draw, isn't it, really? I mean, there was a little bit of confusion, here's some insider knowledge right here. There was a bit of confusion on the AlphaTauri pit wall during that Tier 1 race, just given the sheer frequency of the safety cars in the last third of that campaign. And, all these drivers, they just have to be aware of sort of where that cliff is on, particularly the mediums and the softs. And I haven't really found a cliff on the hards, well, at least from my little bit of running.
There's always a cliff on the hards.
There's always a cliff on the hards. Well, it's above 55%. I can tell you that much, Seb, right now. But I don't think we'll see many drivers using the hards unless absolutely necessary. But enough waiting, enough guessing, Seb. It's time for the formation lap, and we'll just wait for Ando to lead them away. We'll get things set up for all of you lovely viewers in the stream. Hope you're enjoying it, and we have quite an interesting mix in the back 10, Seb.
Yeah, an interesting mix indeed. Decelerate, Mika, Saxa, Bully, Nut, and Mr. Spicer all opting for the mediums. The rest, Psycho, Keeper, Bandcamp, and Anarchy. They've decided that the softs is the way to go. And we'll see how they fare as they try to make positions. They'll obviously, probably most likely have a better start than the medium runners, considering they're on softer compounds and get a bit more heat through this formation and that. But nevertheless, it's very important for them to gain positions, otherwise they will be left out to dry later on in the race.
You know, I like what they're doing here for McLaren, not Mercedes, unfortunately, but McLaren, AlphaTauri, and Alfa Romeo, as well as you can throw in some other teams that have drivers in the top 10. They're splitting the strategy, sir. They're splitting the strategy just so if there is a safety car a little bit later in the race after the soft runners pit for the mediums, that at least one of their drivers is able to benefit from it. Because that's what this race is. It's all about who plays the safety cars to good effect. Because there's going to be at least one. I mean, come on.
Yeah, at least one. If you look at the castle section alone, you just expect there to be wings flying off there. And it's not just the castle section. You also have turn 15 after what is turns 13 and 14, which, as I said, aren't really corners, but
they are in the wet.
They definitely are in the wet. Yes, they definitely are in the wet. They can definitely push you to the limits, but turn 15, if you get it all wrong in the braking zone and maybe take a bit too much inside curb, and you can see yourself very much into that wall, losing some right end plate. Or even then, if you get too eager on the fall, you can see yourself up in the left-hand side wall.
Yeah, it's a difficult traction zone, especially with that ripple strip on the right-hand side. And that wall comes up extremely quickly too. I don't know how the real F1 drivers are able to do it, because there's literally just a concrete barrier just staring you down, and you have to steer right and realize pretty quickly that you're not going to make the corner. But 26 laps, we'll just run you through this grid one more time. So we have Ando and Pepsi on the front row, followed by Wingman, Kalios, Nemo, Skins, Combat. Very nice qualifying result for the two Williams cars, with Quantum Effect at King J, as well as Vasa rounding out the 10. And then we have Decelerate, Mika, Psycho and Saxa, Keeper, Bully, Bandcamp and Nut, Anarchy, and Mr. Spicer, your back 10. Lots of different strategies, lots of carnage that could happen, and one of the shortest runs into turn 1 that we've seen. And from our combined experience, a lot can happen in these first, 200 meters into turn 1?
Something like that. 200 meters, might be 180 or something. I don't actually know, to be honest.
Well, here we go. I'll let you have the honors, as I always do, Seb. The cars are lining up, the engines are revving, and Mr. Spicer is in his grid slot. It is time for things to start here in Baku.
It is time indeed. The 5 red lights loom over these guys. The lights are out there. It's time for racing, Mika. Looks like Wingman got a good enough start. Pepsi kind of bogged down. You see Nemo getting a bit out of shape. That's allowed the two brothers to go through in the Williams cars. Looks pretty good so far. No real incidents. See a bit of 3 wide action down the field. That's Mika, Vasa, and a Mercedes of the keeper by looks. We've got Wingman is ahead of Andocat. Wingman has taken the lead. Pepsi trailing behind, and there's Kalios right behind Pepsi, Mika.
Yeah, looks like pretty clean as well in the midfield. The yellow flag briefly at the back of things, just looking at the Alpine there of Nemo as he makes his way through turn 3, getting very close to the Haas in front as well, but it looks like it's been pretty clean so far. We'll get the timing tower back up on things. Like you said, Wingman has taken control of this race away from Andrecat, so after a strong qualifying performance and a good gap as well, Andrew off to a bit of a slow start. Pepsi has him right behind him as well. The two Williams cars up to 5th and 6th as well. They've had a great start. We'll get the position changes on your screen now. The biggest winner so far has been Keeper, up 4 spots already, Sam.
Yeah, that's just Keeper for you. He's on those softs, so keep that in mind. As I said, softs will get a better start because they'll be able to hold temperature better. But nevertheless, he's made it count. He's up to P11.
Looks like as well some big winners there, as well as Wingman up 2 spots, King J up 2 spots, as is Combat Rat as well, as they go into turn 15 for the first time. And they're all still very, very munched up. Mika there getting a little bit antsy with the wall at the exit of turn 15. You don't want to be doing that too many times, especially when you have 25 more laps to go. Now we'll jump back up to the front of things. Pepsi, 3/10 again. We have a yellow flag. Skins is out. Skins is out on the main straight, and I'm sure that's going to be a safety car. And Decelerate's out as well.
It's a massive crash, Mikhail.
Oh no, we'll get it right on board with Nut. There's Skins. Vast has to slow down. There's Decelerate. There's Psycho out as well. That is absolutely devastating for those 3 teams. And my game has just crashed, just like Kunai's did in Tier 1.
Exactly like Kunai's and Gus's did in Tier 1. That's what we love to see, don't we?
Yeah, I can't even get out of it.
Yeah, neither can I. I've just been lucky enough to get out now, so hopefully it will work. But hang tight with us. Uh,
Oh, there we go.
Codemasters are playing some games.
Oh yeah, I mean, at least we won't be missing much. So as we just get things sorted once again, just bear with us. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen every single time that a safety car is called out. But yeah, very, very unfortunate for, I believe that, yeah, that was, from memory, that was Skins, Decelerate, and Psycho all out of this race. Now, if you're a soft runner, Seb, just thinking about it as we're getting back into the session, what do you do? I mean, would you just go for the medium or use the safety car to extend that soft stint just a little bit further to make it a more comfortable soft medium strategy?
No point in pitting, in my opinion, at the moment, because those softs still have a fair bit of life in them. And then if you don't have a safety car till the end of the race, which is not very likely, but if you don't have one, then you need to make sure you can get those mediums to the end. And you ideally want to be pitting around lap 6 to 8 for medium tires, and a lap 1 safety car not really going to suffice there.
Yeah, it is a tricky call. Of course, all those that have damage will need to go into the pit lane as well. I'm just joining back into the session now, so get things all set up once again. Thank you for bearing with us with the wonderful F1 2021 game by Codemasters and in EA. You love to see it. These game crashes. Hopefully there's a patch out for them very, very soon. And we won't bring up the can of worms that was happening on Twitter this week. We'll try and avoid that one. But nevertheless, safety car conditions, I think there's no surprises there. I think that would be a red flag if it were in real life, especially with the tyre failures that both Stroll and Verstappen unfortunately had in the real life Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Just trying to load in at the moment. But Seb, bit of a radio cast at the moment. Who have we got for our top 10 as things stand, if you can give that to us?
Wingman still leads, Sandokat is in second, Pepsi still in third as per before, Kalios stays in fourth as well. Nemo, King Jake, Quantum Nut, and Mr. Spicer are the top 9. Combat Rack, Keeper, Bandcamp, Bully, Mika, Fassa, and Saxa round out P10 to P16. They've all stopped so far this race. They've gone into all new medium tyres, and our biggest gain is Nut and Mr. Spicer up 10 and 11 positions respectively.
We might just turn the engines down just a little bit so we can hear your lovely voice a little bit clearer. Okay, maybe not that much. Still want to hear some of the engines. How about 6? 6 work? I think 6 will work. Yeah, that should be fine. Alright, so all of you lovely viewers can hear Seb's lovely and beautiful voice a lot more clearer now over the roars of the V6 turbo hybrid cars.
Not as beautiful as your voice.
Oh, you flatter me, Seb. You flatter me.
You flatter me too.
at least it's better than the Formula E sounds that we had at the start of the game.
You can hear them very strongly, can't you? The whirl of the
whir of the
nothing.
Yeah. There's the electrical power, which is very important around a circuit like Baku. The ERS management, particularly with that very long straight in the 3rd sector. I believe that's the longest flat-out section on the entire F1 calendar, from memory.
It is.
The only one that would rival it is like Mexico, Shanghai, when we used to go there. Spa as well, between the Source and Lacon. I am so looking forward to the race tonight, by the way. That's going to be insane.
I am as well. From what I've heard, it's what the teams have said, it should be raining for the race as well. So if it is, we're in for a crazy weekend in Spa. We've had a crazy night here in Baku.
It's the week of crazy races, and we'll hope that the real F1 Championship delivers in 2 hours' time. Lights go out in 2 hours' time, Sam. So, anyone in the chat that was unaware that when this, when the race started, and it looks like, speaking of starting, we're going. Let's go, Seb. We're racing again.
We're racing again, and see Wingman playing a bit of games. Pepsi's getting down the inside of Andocat. He's having a look. We're not there.
No,
but
Pepsi!
Around, just as in Monaco at turn 1. He spins at turn 1 in Baku. He's then tumbling down the order once again, down to P16, Mikhail. Unfortunate.
In a championship fight, that is the last thing you want. We have a nice separation between softs and mediums on this grid at the moment. The top 6 all on those Red Wall soft compound tyres. Now currently running on board with the Alpine driver of Nemo, currently sitting in 4th place as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4. A little bit of a tap there with the wall at turn 3, but it looks like they've all gotten away cleanly, and Wingman's got off to a flying restart. He's already 1.1 seconds ahead of the Aston Martin.
Yes, indeed. He is 1.3. It's just gaining. He's just losing time to Ando, and he's showing that dominance he showed in Monaco last time out. He had that pole position, and he dominated the race, led almost every lap and won by 45 seconds. That was an absolutely class performance, but he's got a bit of work cut out for him. But if anything's to show, he is on it today, Mikhail.
Bandcamp as well, getting very, very close to the back of Mr. Spicer. The Dragon, as he's so often called in this league. Just trying to do all that he can to stay in one piece, as well as maybe try and make a pass on the Alpine driver. Keep it nice and cool. Not there as well in 7th place, doing very, very well. Just trying to stay out of trouble. As I said in the pre-show, he's got keeper for company right on his rear wing. It looks like the Mercedes might have gotten the better run on the McLaren, Seb.
Yeah, he's got to be careful not to be too eager. He's using his ear.
Oh, he's been touched! They're out! Oh no, that's a massive accident! A massive, massive accident between turns 18 and 19, and that is another safety car. We have 13 cars left in. It's only lap 4. Bully's out of the race as well. He's crashed completely on his own.
I feel like I might have jinxed that, because I did say he's got to be careful not to use too much ERS, otherwise he might spin it or run into the back of Nut, and he ran into the back of Nut. He sent Nut around, he sent himself around, and Mr. Spicer was the unlucky bystander, and he's out of the race as well.
No.
12 drivers left.
12 drivers left, and it's like a 5-lapper, Sam.
This isn't a 5-lapper, this is a 3-lapper.
Oh
This is
my
crazy.
goodness. Yeah, this is absolutely insane. I mean, we knew Baku was going to be something special, but no one was expecting that.
Oh, no one indeed, as we point out by our lovely Smitty. Ben is in a great spot, isn't he? He's got that one pit stop under his belt, sits in P4. He doesn't have that. He won't have to pit again unless he wants to.
Well, with the laps on the safety car, Ben, and knowing how nice Ben is on his tyres, he could very well go to the end of this race. They won't feel great at the end, but they still have a fair bit of grip, even compared to some fresh softs.
Keep in mind, he does have Mika and Combat Rat behind. They've got a bit of pace on Bandit. You know, Endocat, Kalios, Quantum, Tepsi, they're all pitted for medium tyres as well. So it's all a game right now. King J, Nemo, and Wingman. It's tough to be them, isn't it? And they're gonna fall behind.
I mean, it's tough for all 7 of the drivers that have. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think actually no, it's 8. 8 drivers that have had their races cut extremely short. Bully, I don't know what happened to the Ferrari driver, but he just seemed to like lose it on his own at turn 20 of all places. So yeah, Bully, Mr. Spicer, Nut, Keeper, Anarchy, both Mercedes out before lap 5, lap 6-ish. Yeah, just really unfortunate. Psycho, Decelerate, and Skins with that first incident that initially brought out the safety car, and we have a Dragon leading this race, Seb.
We have a Dragon leading this race indeed, and I wish we were able to put up Stars' famous comment on the screens right now.
Oh yeah, the one about tier 2 cleaner than tier 1. I mean, I didn't.
Well, to be honest, tier 1 wasn't that clean.
I didn't see what happened in the castle section, Seb. I'm sure you had a better view of it than I did, because I was unfortunately ahead of it. From what I heard over the team radio with the lovely Red Panda, it was not pretty. Not pretty to say the least.
Indeed. And 3 times as well, Mika. So, you know, a bit of fun for your money. But we have 2 safety cars in the span of 5 laps. Or 6 now, so...
This is giving me MRL flashbacks. Goodness me. Goodness me. Yeah, lap 6 now of 26. We've got... we'll have 20 laps of green flag running, assuming the safety car comes in this lap. Your top 3 at the moment, as you see on screen, are Bandcamp, Mika, and Combat Rat, with Saxa all the way up into 4th place. Very, very nice showing from the AlphaTauri so far. Unfortunate for his teammates. Vassar in 5th, Wingman in 6th, Anocat in 7th, Kalios in 8th, Nemo 9th, and King J, the second Haas car, rounding out the top 10. Now, Seb, at this rate, if you just finish the damn race, you're going to score points.
Pretty much. That's the aim right now. Just finish the race. That's the mentality of Bandit Nut. Obviously not able to finish the race because he was taken out by Keeper. But that's the mantra to team admin in tier 2.
Yeah, Michael Massey might need to have a little look at that incident between keeper and nut. I don't know if anything will come from it because it was the slightest tap, but you know, they're both going at such speed and the car is so on edge, especially with the high fuel loads and coolish tires. I mean, oh, and we have a safety car coming in this lap, so the Dragon. I should just nickname him that, just AFR the Dragon.
I don't understand why you haven't already.
Oh, maybe I'll do that for Canada. Do that for Canada. But yes, Bandcamp will be leading them away on this restart. We'll have 20 laps, hopefully, of green flag running. We've already had 2 full safety cars, no virtual safety cars to speak of just yet, because both incidents were red flag worthy. I'll just put it that way. But here we go, Bandcamp backing up the field, going at a steady 105 kilometers an hour, you can see. And there he goes, he's pulled the pin. Has Mika reacted? Mika's reacted pretty poorly to that one. But Combat Rat, a little bit further behind as well. But the guys who have reacted the best are a bit further down the grid. We have Androcat right on the back of Wingman, as well as Kalios as they head into turn 1 for lap 7 of 26.
Yeah, so important they get these medium tires fired up for the medium runners. Ooh, Kalios, yes indeed. Kalios is getting around the outside of Endocat. But Endocat's being brave, outbraking him into turn 2. And holding it right there, Mick.
Oh, there we go. You can see the bump draft from the Aston Martin, giving it to the Haas. There's a gap on the outside. Kalios, he has a little bit of a bump there on that right rear tire of the Aston Martin, but no foul, no harm just yet. We'll see how things go.
Like this new attitude from Kalios. It looks like he's just backing out of corners. You know, seen him be a bit aggressive, especially at Monaco. It might have thrown him into a bit of bad incidents, and you know that led to bad results. But he's shown his pace, and it might be showing that he's showing some maturity here as well.
Oh, Pepsi has had a little issue at turn 7. So he's going to fall back a few seconds from the rest of the pack. Wingman as well now, currently riding on board with the Red Bull, currently sitting in 6th place, ladies and gentlemen. And he is staring at an Alfa Romeo rear wing that he so desperately wants to get past as quickly as possible, because he's losing time to Saxa in front.
Yeah, he needs to get this move done ASAP, but it's really hard to get a move done into turn 15. It's so narrow and tight, and it's a bit too fast to fit 2 cars through, but he'll be needing to use all this ARS up to get past Vassar down into turn 1.
Well, we have seen moves at turn 15 before. My mind goes back to Bandcamp and Matt Dabry a couple seasons ago in Tier 1. But here we go. Red Bull gives you wings. Well, it seems to give you straight line speed as well. That Honda power unit. It's a drag race between the two of them as they now go side by side down the main straight. Bandcamp sending the fastest lap of the race so far with one of the first laps of green flag running that we've had all race. And up the inside, easy as you like, Wingman. And now he's going to come another threat from Ando just behind him as well.
Ando having a look through turn 1, the exit. Vassar gets a bit of curb that might kill his run. Ando could pounce. He's using that ERS as we can see him do. Getting that straight line speed, getting that slipstream, looking down the inside. Will Vassar defend this too hard? It doesn't look like he is. They're both not using ERS now. They're braking into the corner, giving each other respect. That's what you love to see, but looks like Ando
Kalios might follow him through. Kalios trying to
indeed
follow him through as well. Now riding on the rear view of the Alfa Romeo. You can see Quantum Effect as well getting very, very close to the back of that Haas rear wing as well. But Kalios just isn't quite able to find a way past Vassar, really seeming to struggle on these medium compound tyres at the moment. You can just see how much the Haas closes up, just a pace difference between the two. He's already fallen by 1.2 seconds to those in front of him. They survive the castle yet again, but that Haas just looking for any opportunity possible, and Vassar doing a great job not to show the Haas any sort of opportunity, at least at this stage.
Yeah, at this stage indeed. As I said, Kalios, he's just buying his time. He's not going for that crazy move that we saw him, for example, go for at the Nobel Chicane in Monaco. So he's wheeling it in, and that's good to see, because this means he can definitely get points. As you see, 8 drivers not in this race. He's got a better run through 16, but he just gone that curve that many. He killed the run. He did have Vassar's getting out of shape through 18 and 19. And that's given Kalios a killer run, Mikhail.
Quantum might get past him as well. Look at the speed of the Rebel. I don't know what wings or downforce they're running, but he might get 2 and 1. He might get 2 and 1. We have a drag race now going down into the first corner. It's almost 3 abreast. Vassar switches to the inside, trying to find a way past. The 2 in front of them going side by side. The Red Bull's round. Quantum's round. And he's been taken out by King J. We have 10 runners left. And that's another safety car.
10 runners left and a safety car.
What is going on?
Every driver at this point will score points if they complete, I believe,
90%.
24 laps, Mikhail.
Yeah, 24 laps.
24 laps.
24 laps is all these drivers need to complete to be classified, and they will score at least 1 point in this race. My goodness me. I've never seen this. I've never seen anything like this. Have you, Seb?
I don't think I have either. I might have jinxed it again with Kalios because I said he was being rather clean, but he might have just turned across Quantum there.
Yeah, we didn't get the best view of it on stream, so we were looking to see if Vasa was able to get a switchback or not. And well, he got sort of a switchback. He got both of them because they both rammed into each other.
Well, Vasa kept a level head through there. Didn't go for anything brave or didn't even go for a move, to be honest, and made himself the beneficiary. He saw a quantum effect just spin by.
You know,
hard not to laugh right now.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to take note of this. There are still 9 different constructors left in this race.
That's very true.
The only team with both cars still left, a third of the way through the race, is other 2 Aston Martins.
The Aston Martins, yeah. They haven't been really lighting up the championship standings, but they could be here. Vika P2 and P6. No more stops to come really for the rest of the race unless we have a late safety car. They're both on tyres that will last. Endo's got pace as well, Mikhail.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he's able to do from 6th place. Of course, Wingman in front of them having a bit of pace as well. Saxa, though, not quite as fast as the 2 behind him. But of course, a very experienced driver in that AlphaTauri, so he'll have something to say about it. Not make it too easy for the guys behind, but I think at this point, all these drivers are just going to be like, okay, survive the race, and I'll score.
Survive the race. Key to that right now is keeping those tyres warm. Going to keep them above that 80-degree threshold. Got to do a lot of time management, a lot of weaving. That's very hard unless you're overturning that wheel to get over too much scrub on the tyres, just so you can get some heat into them. Nemo and Pepsi on fresh mediums now. They've got a bit of catching up to do to the field, but
those will easily make
the safety car to come in.
Those will easily make it to the end of the race, and they won't really experience that cliff either. Maybe the last lap or 2 if they really destroy them. But yeah, you know, a friend of ours, Seb, is saying, safety cars breed safety cars, and we've definitely seen that in Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 3, my memory eludes me a little bit. That's how bad it is, but, you know, Tiers 1 and 2, yeah, that statement rings very true, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, Seb.
I know exactly who you're talking about as well, and this is a crazy race. I think by the end of it, we'll be saying, we love Baku and not well done, Baku.
We love Baku. Can we just race a Baku like every week? Like, who needs the rest of the tracks?
So entertaining.
It's just so
imagine
unpredictable.
If we had different variations. Yeah, imagine if we had different variations of it as well in terms of the barriers. That's that's a bit of a dumb statement, but you know, that's provided something else, and we got almost something else in each of the 2.5 races so far.
I'm just glad that there are still 9 different constructors remaining in this race. So all the teams bar Mercedes, sorry Big Mac, will be able to score points. Mercedes is the only team that's not going to score any points at this stage. So, no, all the teams still have something to play for. All their hopes on one. Yeah, no.
Don't jinx it yet, man.
Yeah.
Oh no. Let's just buckle in, because we thought we didn't need to buckle in before. We definitely do need to now.
Yeah, the full-on, you know, seatbelt, and I have the full-on harness. What do they call it? I forget.
Oxygen masks and everything.
Yeah, and you know, and just the Hans system as well, just like everything. We need everything for this restart, and the Dragon still leads them. You know, well, he's doing pretty well.
He's doing, yeah, one thing we didn't mention is how good of a restart he did get, and he was able to hold that gap. He kept it around 1.1 to 1.2 seconds, so it shows he does have the pace to keep these guys behind, and only time will tell if, you know, he can hold on to that win, or maybe even a podium position with the guys of likes of Wingman and Endocat and Kalios behind him.
Well, they do have those 3 that you just mentioned, 5th, 6th, and 7th. They do have quite a few cars to make their way through, but I wouldn't rule out Combat Rat either. He's a driver who has a fair bit of pace as well in that Williams, currently sitting in 3rd place, as I wouldn't rule Mika out either. I mean, the two Aston Martins have been putting in a lot of work over the week for the streets of Baku. And hopefully doing the man Pondon very, very proud that they are the only only team with 2 cars remaining in this race. And that's going to be worth something, Seb.
Yeah, it's got to be worth something indeed. Big points can come out of it. They sit P5 in the constructors, 33 points at the moment. They're 8 behind the Williams team. That is Combat Rat and Skins, as you can see. Combat Rat in P3, and they are 11 points in front of the Mercedes, who will not be scoring. So, good opportunity for them to pick up some good points. And with Pepsi all the way in P10, you know, I say all the way in P10, he's still pretty close to them, but they could be able to gain on likes of Ferrari and maybe even McLaren if Band isn't able to hold on here. But I want to put it past Band to keep these cars behind.
Well, there we go. Safety car has been called in this lap, and we will be green for the start of lap 12 of 26. We're almost halfway, guys. We're almost halfway, and my oh my, has it been a show so far. We have this absolutely amazing helicopter camera, and you can see Ben just weaving, trying to keep a little bit of temperature in the tires. When is he going to go? The safety car is now in the pit lane. He's holding a little bit further than he did last time. When is he going to go? You can see on the telemetry, there he goes now, and he's caught Ando absolutely napping. Look at this, and now Saxer as well has gotten off to a great restart as well. They're all closing in on this Aston Martin. We are now green flag racing for lap 12, riding on board with the AlphaTauri as he goes around the outside of the Williams combat. What a move, but Saxer loses the rear end. He's able to catch it, thank goodness for that. But he's able to still hold on to that 4th place, and looks like Kalios now trying to make his way up the inside of the Williams, but Combat Rat is having none of it, Sam.
Combat Rat having none of it, but Kalios is neither having none of it. He's trying to get that move done. He wants P5 badly. Combat Rat shadowing the inside. Kalios will not go for it. He'll think better of it, but Wingman, he kind of got squeezed in the entry to turn 1, but he comes out the beneficiary of Saxon and Combat Rat going side by side. Saxon nearly losing it, but doing a good job to hold on. Now Wingman's got Mika in his sights.
Meanwhile, Mika struggling a little bit to try and keep up with the Dragon. That gap dancing around that 9/10 mark. If Band can break DRS, he'll be in a great spot, assuming that we get more than 4 laps of green flag running, Zeb. But we'll see how things go. Wingman now closing up to the back of the Aston Martin for the runner-up spot. Saxus falling back a little bit as well. 9/10 of the gap there. Vassar 1.3, 1.4 now to the back of that other Aston Martin in Andocat. And they're all making their way through the middle sector as we speak. The closest gap on track is that gap for that 8th position at the moment. Pepsi really closing in on that Alfa Romeo rear wing, and just seeing if he's able to make a move sooner rather than later. But it looks like Wingman might be trying to eye up this Aston Martin, and he's gotten the run. He could have a decent shot at overtaking the turn 1, Seb.
Decent shot indeed. Look how close he is. There's no DRS. As we mentioned, Bully leaves the session, but he's got such a good run. He could get this move done before turn 1. They're going side by side. Looks like they're both using ARS. No, Mika is not using his area, so Wingman wants that move. I don't think Mika wants to fight him, considering I think he knows Wingman has that pace advantage.
Kalios as well. Kalios on the inside into turn 1. Combat with the squeeze into the apex curbing. They both live to tell the tale. But Kalios getting a little bit impatient now. Sticks his nose in at turn 2. Combat leaves in the room. A little bit of contact. That is on Silver Williams' car. There's Ando. Ando's going to try and go past both of them here, Seb. Look at this.
3 wide. There's no way this is going to work into turn 3, but they're going to go for it anyway. 3 wide.
Oh my goodness.
Squeezing at Kalios. He has to give way to Andocat, and Andocat will get 2 into 1.
What a move there from the Aston Martin. Patience plays dividends once again, and it looks like they have both lost out to the Aston Martin as Pepsi goes for a massive dive on Vassar into turns 5 and 6. Pepsi has to leave in the room, but Vassar clobbering that apex curb, and he gets around the Alfa Romeo very nicely. Now it's all eyes on Kalios, the Haas driver, now currently sitting in 7th after what has been a scruffy lap 13 so far.
Yeah, Wingman is now over the back of Band, so Band may have the pace on Mika, but he doesn't have pace on the Monaco race winner. That is Wingman. They're both Monaco race winners. Bring your attention back to Season 6 last season. Bandcamp won Monaco in Tier 2, but looks like Wingman just has the better of him in pace. Just look at how much faster, how much better traction he gets. He brakes so much better as well. He's just able to hold on to him, Mikhail, and he should be able to get this move done into turn 1. He might even get it done through turn 20. Look how much he's closing in on him through 18, 19, and he's not even using ERS, and he's just gaining and gaining. He's going to soar past Mikhail into the lead, so Wingman sitting strong right now.
Wingman now into the lead of things, and now both on very even ERS levels, and now DRS for the first time this race, halfway through it has now finally been enabled. And all those drivers within 1 second of the car in front will have an extra 20 kph boost in their top speed. Yes, I know, it is that much. It is that much, Seb, and it is so powerful around a track like Baku. And we'll see how things go. You can see Bandcamp just gaining and gaining. It won't be enough to make a move, but you can just see the amount of straight line speed that DRS provides you. And the break in the chain at the moment is our pole sitter, Androcat.
Andercat has done good to get himself up to P5, but my eyes are on Pepsi right now, Mikhail. He's trailing Kalios, and there's a bit of a bad blood maybe between them after what happened at Monaco in lap 1, turn 1. Got into a bit of a fight, but you never know. We could see some sparks happen here where they're both rather aggressive drivers, but they've both got a ton of pace, so interesting to see how this
both need to think
pans
about
out.
the long game right now. They both need to think about, there's a crash in the castle.
Oh.
That's one of the Aston Martins. It's Mika. Mika facing the wrong way at the castle. I don't see any visible damage on that front wing, but he's waiting for all the drivers to make it past him as he tries to get that car turned around, and he is really struggling on that one, Seb. I'll leave him be as he tries to get around. That might actually be a virtual safety car considering how long he's taking. But that has put his race well and truly out unless there's another full safety car. And there we go, Pepsi now 4/10. Kalios runs a little bit wide at the exit of turn 16. Here is the run for the Ferrari. This could get a bit spicy, Seb, considering, like you said, the history in Monaco. The speed from the Ferrari through turns 18 and 19 into the kink of 20 now. You can see that Haas rear wing, and he's going to have the DRS as well as soar past this Haas car like it's a real-life Haas car. Look at that, Seb.
Look at that indeed. So far gone, Pepsi. Just knew he had the DRS. Didn't use too much DRS. Just made sure he got the move done. Using about 5% down that main straight. Nemo's kind of in this conversation as well, but he's not threatening too much. Kalios might have an issue though, because he has dropped off a fair bit. He might have wing damage, Mikhail.
It certainly is possible. He did get a bit close with Combat Rat at the start of, well, at the restart a couple of laps ago. Nemo getting very close to the back of that Haas car as well. We'll jump up the field just a little bit more as Androcat is starting to put quite a bit of pressure on Saxo and that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, he's been putting on pressure as well. I think 5/10 of a second. Careful
Oh,
not to get
hello.
too close
Hold
to
on.
the castle.
Nemo inside of 7. Cuts the corner a little bit. That could be a warning, but it makes the move stick, and now I think you're right, Seb. That Haas has got to have front wing damage, considering the pace that he's had and that he's shown all season. There's no way that he just... I mean, he's already lost 7/10 there. But now back to Androcat.
Lime green damage, which I had in my race, is really unsettling. A lot of understeer. And it tends to take off about 5/10 per lap that you do. So that's at minimum as well. If we look at Androcat, it's like he's sizing up Saxa. I don't think Saxa's going to have anything to fight with. Across the DRS detection, Androcat will be behind, and I think this will be straightforward. Mick out. Get in the slipstream, DRS open, pull out to the left, and say bye-bye, because you've got Bandcamp in your sights. He's 2 seconds down the road.
Androcat now up into the podium places after what was a shaky start for the Aston Martin. This could be one of his best results to date so far this season. He's able to keep it together. He's showing great pace all weekend. He's got the Dragon in front of him. Wingman, though, 2.6 seconds ahead of the McLaren driver. We'll see if he's able to pull that gap. Maker now putting on soft compound tyres for that last lap, trying to just bring the car home to get that one singular point as things stand right now. But all the gaps starting to spread out a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of the pace gap between all the drivers at the moment as Ando sets a purple first sector in his pursuit of that second place.
Yeah, I don't think he's used a lot of ERS as well. We saw him use a bit down that little straight from 6 to 7, into the castle section, but certainly pressing right now, and he might be eyeing off Wingman, but albeit Wingman has pulled out a 3.6 second gap to Bandcamp, so you know, Wingman showing once again he could be the man, especially if Pepsi keeps having issues as we've seen so far in the past 2 rounds.
Oh, that's a tap with the wall, Ando.
That could be damage.
That could very easily be damage. I see a little chip on that right end plate. I don't know if that's just visible or if that is indeed lime green damage. I guess we'll find out in a little bit. But Ando, he's within that 5/10 range. We'll now go back on board with the Aston Martin. And just look at this straight line speed that he's going to go. He's using everything except ERS, DRS. Looks like Ben wants to go into the pit lane as well. Get off of those 13-lap old and medium compound tyres. We'll see. It doesn't look like, it looks a tiny bit understeery, but it looks like the Aston Martin is holding up just a little bit for now. We'll have to keep it on that gap.
Yeah, it might be the slightest of taps, but he is still gaining on Wingman. So, interesting developments here.
I honestly hope he didn't damage his wing, because I want to see a fight to the end.
Yeah, I want to see a fight as well. I'm surprised Ben can't pit as well. He's onto the medium tyres, so he's cost himself points. He's coming out right behind Vassar though, Mikhail. And Bandcamp's got DRS on him. He's using his DRS. Vassar will give him the position. Won't fight it too hard. And Bandcamp found himself back up into P7, although 7 seconds off this spread out lead 6 train.
Well, with Kalios's wing damage, which I'm now assuming is the case now that he's fallen 3 seconds behind Pepsi, and Ben with these fresh mediums that'll comfortably make it to the end and not lose any pace whatsoever, he could be in with a very, very strong performance. You know, maybe Pepsi is slightly out of reach, but Kalios, I think, definitely possible.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got a second on him in the past sector, so Kalios is really in the trenches right now. He's got to dig deep in order to hold on to that 6th place, but look how much Ben is gaining on him, Mick.
Oh, yeah, actually, well, if Ben continues at this pace, he might well be back in the top 4. We'll see how things go. He is running out of laps as the leaders are about to start lap 18 of 26. So we have 9 laps remaining, including the current one that we are on. Currently looking at Combat Rat, the closest gap on track, 1.7 seconds behind Saxa, who, might I say, is doing a really, really great job in 3rd place at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing a really great job. Quiet race, but good race, and you know, you don't
Sometimes
like
you need
a race.
those.
Yeah, you don't mind a race without drama, and that's what he's having right now. He's on for a good podium, albeit hoping a safety car doesn't come out. And you know, Combat Rat's not really showing the pace to catch him. Pepsi's been hovering around that 3.7 gap to Combat Rat. You know, Saxon's not really making gains on Ando, but I don't think he needs to. He can just sit there with his 15-lap old mediums, manage them, take them to the end, and he's sitting well for that nice 15-point hole for AlphaTauri.
That means AlphaTauri will have a car finish in 3rd in all 3 races, and that would be quite the sight. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to jinx it. Still a fair way to go. Anything can happen, even with 10 cars on the grid, and the closest gap 1.3 seconds at the moment. And you were talking about a clean race. I mean, I could use one of those. I could use one of those. It's been a very hectic start to the season in Tier 1, but nevertheless, we're watching Combat Rat. Your car versus my car. We'll see how we go.
Well, let's hope the Williams can find some pace out of nowhere. Because that would be rather nice. He has gained about 2/10 on him in the past lap, so Saxon might be feeling a bit of the heat, but Saxon does have the benefit of a bit more ERS at play.
Yeah, a little bit more. The AlphaTauri is sitting at 33%. The Williams currently sitting at around 12%. But I'm just want to keep a close eye, well, at least one eye on that battle, and one eye as well on this one for the lead. I don't know. I mean, maybe you can check the race director and tell me about the lap time, Seb. But I don't know if Ando's catching this Red Bull. He might be
slightly,
but it's not going to be enough at this rate. And Wingman's still at 70% ERS at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think so. It looks like Ando's dropping off, actually. Last lap, Wingman says personal best of a 41.5, and Ando did a 41.69, so...
they're really even. All we need now is like a safety car or something to bring them all back. Exactly. I don't want to see anyone DNF because we only have 10 runners left. But here we go. Oh, we have someone in DRS range. It's the 2 we were talking about before. Combat Rat has reeled in the AlphaTauri of Saxa.
Good dogfight about to happen. 16 versus 15 lap old mediums. AlphaTauri versus Williams. 2 level heads have been around for a while in AFR, mind you. Both, I believe, been here since season 1. Combat Rat coming in around early. I believe Saxa joined a bit later than him did, but both find themselves in Tier 2. Both find themselves fighting each other, and both within DRS range of each other.
The only other driver within DRS range is the Bandcamp. He has caught up to the back of Kalios. We'll keep one eye on that battle as well on the timing tower. That's the one for 6th place at the moment. And Bandcamp is on for a really, really good result as well, especially if these two that are on your screens right now really start to squabble in these next few laps. But here we go. DRS is about to be enabled. Saxa looks like he's gotten the better exit and using some of that battery as well out of turn 16. Now 8.5 tenths is the gap. We'll see how this DRS goes as they go down the main straight. Saxa pulls into the pits.
Saxa pitting.
And Bandcamp as well.
Cool. Yep.
Bandcamp flying past the Haas of Kalios. Maybe flying's a bit too strong of a word. He just breezes past. But Kalios staying with the McLaren driver. Saxa will come out in 7th place on a fresh set of soft compound tyres that will easily make it to the end of the race. Now all tyres are going to be on combat to see if his tyres will hold up for the remaining 7 laps.
Well, you expect they would. Mediums wear around 3% per lap, so you'd be going around 22, 23 laps on those medium tyres, but keep in mind there have been safety cars, so it would have taken a bit of toll off of those sets of tyres. But looking at Saxa right now, if he can get a move on, gain maybe a second lap on Band, there's a chance we could see a last lap overtake for P5.
Yeah, I think that's the best that Saxa can hope for now, unfortunately, but we'll see what he's able to do. He's got the freshest rubber on the track at the moment. We'll have a quick look at the fastest lap as well. Currently, the fastest lap is held by Apollo Pepsi, a 1 minute 40.902, and I dare say with those fresh softs, that Saxa is more than capable of beating that one. Meanwhile, at the front of things, Seb, Wingman 4.4 seconds now ahead of Ando, and he has taken complete control of this race.
Seems like Wingman was just taking a nap and then was like, all right, enough of that, and just got on with it. Pulled out a second in the past 2 to 3 laps while we weren't paying attention to him, and he's sitting rather comfortably right now. I'd say the race is his.
Yeah, well, no, you never know. I mean, we've seen a lot of front runners who have been pushing a bit too hard, lose laps and concentration, just bending in that castle wall. My mind goes to the 2 Williams guys in Tier 1 who have both done it in their league racing careers. So we'll see what happens for the remaining 6 laps as we're right on board with Kalios just a little bit. He is just trying to hold on to that 6th place, but he has an AlphaTauri charging very quickly behind him, Seb.
Tell you what, Saxa's really turned on. He's got 6 laps to go, or just over 6, sorry, under 6 laps now, and he's within 5 seconds. So expect him to gain a lot more time through this middle sector, as that's where these fresher tyres will seriously come into play. And
oh, what did I say? What did I say? Wingman is out of the race at the castle! And we have a safety car!
So Wingman will not be picking up points as well. And that means Pepsi's up into P3. So interesting to see who will pit now.
We'll have a little bit of gap to leader as well there, so quite the gap. I mean, if you're everyone has to pit with these fresh softs except for Saxa, and Saxa will be kicking himself now. If he waited just that one more lap, he would have been able to benefit from this and probably hold on to that, what would be 2nd place now. But here we go.
That would be 2nd place. Oh, gee, Wingman.
That's gotta hurt. That's gonna hurt. I mean, Wingman as well.
I'm surprised I'll check his lap times, but surprised he was going the way he was, because considering you have a 4.4 second lead, you don't really need to be putting in those times.
And growing as well. He would pull out like a second as well.
Had done a 42.1 and then I believe a 41.8, whereas Ando had done a 42.4 and a 42.5, so he was well and truly pulling away. So I'm just very surprised that, you know, he didn't take it easy, especially in a section like the castle section. Combat Rat, Ando Cat, Pepsi, they've all pitted, same as Bandcamp.
And everyone will pit except for this AlphaTauri that we're riding on board with. Where is he going to come out? Because this might not be the end of the world for the AlphaTauri driver as he comes around turn 1. He can see the Aston Martin. He's gotten ahead of Combat. He has gotten ahead of Combat, so it isn't the end of the world for the AlphaTauri. He's now back up into 2nd place. And we're going to have, what is that, a 4 lap sprint to the end at the end of things when everything's said and done. Mika might even have an opportunity to catch up, and he is way, way far back. But maybe. Yeah. It's a possibility.
Maybe. Possibility. He's got a lot of catching up to do. I expect he won't pit, just so he can, you know, be part of that potential 3 lap sprint that comes at the end of the race. But
This is
Saxa
nuts.
into P2. And if you look at the pits as well, Bandcamp has jumped Pepsi in the pit stop phase. So interesting to see Pepsi was held up there maybe by Kalios, who was pitting at the same time. Oh, that's unfortunate for Pepsi if that's the case.
Yeah, looks like we're going to have another sprint to the flag. Not quite a 2-lap sprint that we've had in Tiers 3 and 1, but it's going to be quite the show nonetheless. A little bit of a jumbled up order. We have Andocat, our pole sitter, has finally retaken the lead after an unfortunate accident with Wingman at turn 10. He hit the apex of turn 10 on that one. Technically, but in the castle section, let's count those 4 corners as the castle. So we have Ando in first, Saxa in second for AlphaTauri, Combat in third for Williams, Bandcamp in fourth for the McLaren squad, and then we have Pepsi for Ferrari in fifth, Kalios in sixth for Haas, Nemo for Alpine in seventh, Vassar for Alfa Romeo in eighth, and Mika will round out the 9 remaining drivers. No points for Red Bull, no points for Mercedes, and if that happens tonight at Spa, that'll be an insane finish, Seb.
Just imagine if George Russell, it rains and George Russell was able to somehow keep that 1-lap pace he showed yesterday and maybe put in a win. But we won't want to speculate that. We've got this to worry about at the moment, Mika.
Yeah, I mean, this is exciting on its own. Like, we don't need rain. We don't. I mean, the only thing that would spice us up even more if the clouds started coming down. If Sandeezy's in the chat, which I don't know if he is, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about because he had a race like that not too long ago. But here we go, lap 23. And we should get things going at the end of this lap. So there will be 1 lap of DRS available for all these drivers. If you're just joining us, you're just in time to see the 3-lap sprint to the end for AFR Tier 2 here at the Baku City Circuit. If you're looking at the time table and trying to figure out what the hell happened, I don't know how to explain it, Seb.
Just wait till the highlights video that comes out during the middle of the week.
Link
there's too much to happen.
Yeah, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Links in the bio below if you want to know when the race replays are put out. And who does the highlights? I think it's Nuts. I think it's Nut does the highlights for these
Nuts
ones.
just realised as well he has to do it.
Yes.
He'll get to see Keeper. Give him a little bit
Nut,
of a
if you're
love
listening, Nut, if you're listening, for all these races, right? Have a separate video, like just for the sprint at the end. The 2 laps in Tier 3, the 2 laps in Tier 1, and the 3 laps here. That's another video idea for you. But anyways, here we go. Quite an interesting Aston Martin sandwich. It's quite a big one, but not as big as we've seen in the past. This could be, right, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I probably am wrong with this one because I don't know AFR's history, but this could be the lowest percentage of finishes ever in an AFR race.
I believe it is as well because we have 20 drivers, although we've had less finishes than this before.
As a proportion, like we've started with the full grid.
Exactly, yeah.
And less than half of finishing. Yeah, here we go. Andocat. Not the Dragon this time, but we're riding on board with the Dragon as he looks to try and make the most of this really weird situation. Well done, Baku. Hashtag we love Baku. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, because we're about to have a 3-lap sprint to the end. 1 lap of DRS, and all eyes are going to be on this Aston Martin as to when he pulls the pin, Seb.
Well, he does have to wait for that safety car to come in, but nevertheless, he will play games. Look at him, look at that weaving, look at them all weave. I think he might wait for Sax to do a bit of weaving before he goes himself.
There he goes.
Building up the pace, there he goes. Like I said, he waited for Sax to do a bit of tyre warming, and just to catch him off guard, and you can see a bit of a 4/10 gap there where you haven't seen a lot of fighting. Carlos getting alongside Pepsi now into turn 1. Those two had a go at it earlier on.
This could get spicy. Pepsi goes deep. Kalios at the back of it. Combat Rat's round! Combat has lost it at turn 1. He's going to go drop down all the way down to 9th place. And that is the last thing that any Williams fans are going to want. I'm sorry, Seb. I'm sorry, Seb. It happened. But here we go. We have 3 laps left in this one. Riding on board now with the Haas driver, currently in 5th place. We have a Pepsi right in front of him. He has to be patient, the Haas driver. The opportunities will come. Andocat has already pulled out the DRS range of Saxa. And Andocat just has 2.5 laps to secure this race win after the amazing pace he showed in qualifying.
Yeah, Miko, just by being able to be part of this little train, has found himself up in P7 because he's gotten past Vasa and Combat Rat that's obviously spun. Pepsi, meanwhile, having a look down the inside of Bandcamp, unconventional spot, turn 7, but nevertheless you can see some moves. They're catching drivers off guard, but normally fighting into the castle section is a good idea, and you can see that Pepsi is just keeping it behind Band for now, but he's got a bit of work cut out for him. He's kept his 9% ERS, he's doing a bit now, same as Band, but they're both dropping off Saxa and Andocat. They're going to fight. Elbows out for P3.
Well, I just gotta hope. Ando just has to do what Wingman didn't do and keep it out of the walls for 2 more times at that castle section. But here we go, riding on board with the Ferrari driver. You can see the sparks from that McLaren in front of him. He's gotten a better exit than Saxa, but scrubbing off a little bit of speed through the S's. Here goes Pepsi. He has that overtake on Seb. He's using the slipstream. Band is using some overtake as well, just inside the slipstream range of that Alpha Tauri in front of him. But it's not going to be enough. Pepsi to the left-hand side, sorry. Purple 3rd sector, and he's up into the podium places.
Up into the podium places. He's looking at P2 now, Mikhail.
Oh, Band!
Saxa well and truly in his sight. Band.
He had a look, Seb. He had a look. But here we go. Currently the closest gap is the one for the final podium place now. 4 tenths. Now growing to 5 tenths as Kalios now finds himself behind the Dragon, who splits the remaining drivers. And all these guys are close in DRS range apart from the 2 at the back. And Ando at the front of things. Saxa already falling away. 3 seconds, really starting to struggle on those older soft compound tyres. They won't be feeling as great as the guys behind him, as well as the pace deficit between the drivers around him. Look how close that Ferrari front wing is to the rear of that AlphaTauri, Seb.
Yeah, he's right over the rear. He's going to have a fairly straightforward move. He won't have the assistance of DRS, but he's got a great run here. Don't go for the move out, Pepsi. Please don't. Saw him using a little bit of ERS obstruction. Oh, he's getting a bit out of shape on the curb. Oh, he's getting nervous. See,
it's clutch time.
His spots.
You know, I know you're an NBA guy, Seb, and this is clutch time for all of these drivers remaining on this grid. As Ando has well and truly checked out of this race, but it's all going to be about the fight for this runner-up spot. Is it going to be Pepsi? Is it going to be Saxa? Is it going to be Band? Is it going to be Kalios? Or Nemo potentially as well if things go his way. But here we go, Pepsi, he's gaining. He's not using as much battery as Saxa going into turn 1. And we have now 6 kilometers left to decide the rest of the results as Pepsi looks around the outside later on the brakes. Has to slot in behind the AlphaTauri, but he is so close to the rear of that Honda. He goes for the dive at turn 2.
Don't across him.
Oh no!
Pepsi's lost it now. Bandcage's on the back of him. He's got DRS. They both have DRS. But Bandcage got the better one. Pepsi's squeezing him to the wall. Pepsi, you know what I think, should have just waited. Maybe waited for that last.
That could have cost him P2. That might have cost him P2. They're fighting into the middle part of the lap. Bandcamp just can't get past the Pepsi.
Now Kalios looking around the outside of Bandcamp. He might get this move done. Bandcamp's giving the stretch, and Kalios is going to mug P4 from Bandcamp. Oh my goodness, it's all popping up. And we have the final DRS straight to go as well, Mikhail.
I will leave your predictions now. Who's going to be on this podium and in what order? Because you cannot, I cannot do anything about who's going to be on this podium. Nemo getting out of shape.
Saxon's deep. Sorry, Saxon nearly hit the castle wall on the right-hand side. He went very deep into the corner. That might have cost him a chance at P2 there because he was out in front by 8 tenths.
Well, it all depends on these final 2 braking zones. Safe to say that Ando is just going to cruise to a P1 finish, but we can't take our eyes off of this fight for the rest of the podium. Saxa, he's got 1 more traction zone to go. It's all about who gets on power earlier. Looks like Saxa's gotten a little bit of a better run, but Pepsi with that slipstream, he's going to have to burn all the ERS as well. He's going to have DRS assistance as well. Is he going to be close enough? It's going to be a run to the line. Androcat will take the race win as he weaves across the line. Here goes Pepsi. DRS. Saxa's flashing. Is it enough? The AlphaTauri is P2.
And Bandcamp just behind Kalios.
Oh,
just
no.
under 400. Nemo will pay P6. Mika finishes P7. Looks like Vasa got P8. sorry, Combat Rat got P8 and Vasa P9. Oh, for 9 cars, that was a good finish, man.
Oh my goodness. They were all like so close, and of course the Dragon, driver of the day. Can't qualify. I'm sorry, man, but you seem to always make it up in the race. I'm sure I don't need me to tell him that. But there we go. Ando, he finally converts. He finally converts the pace that he has in that Aston Martin. As soon as he took control of that race after Wingman's mistake, just no looking back. And Saxa, what a drive from the AlphaTauri driver to make it P2 under immense pressure from Pepsi. He will recover to a third place after his spin earlier in the race. Whew. That was a crazy one, Seb. Absolutely crazy. You couldn't take your eyes off the screen even for a second. But there we go. Ando, confirmation of the results there. Got pole position, fastest lap, converts the race win after a very, very eventful Baku race. Saxa 14th to second, order drive from the AlphaTauri, and Pepsi rounds off the podium second to third with 3 pit stops as well. Very, very interesting as well. Kalios in 4th place, just missing out on the podium, and Bandcamp just, what's it, half a tenth behind the Haas driver. He'll go from 17th to 5th and gets the in-game voted driver of the day. Nemo in 6th place for the Alpine guys, Mika in 7th, Combat Rat in 8th, and Vasa is the last of the finishers with Wingman, King J, Quantum, Bully, Mr. Spicer, Nut Keeper, Psycho, Decelerate, and Skins having probably a one to forget, Seb. But do you have any words to describe that race?
Chaos, and more chaos, because that's all that was there to see. But it was rather entertaining, wasn't it?
Oh, it was absolutely amazing, Seb. You couldn't take, like I said before, you can't take your eyes off the screen for 1 second. And going to Montreal next week, another track where if it's anything like last game, I'm yet to do my proper testing there, but if it's anything like last game, we're going to see a lot of 2-stops, going to see a lot of guys really pushing those sets of tires, lots of track limit penalties probably as well, a lot of drivers trying to minimize it, and of course, we have the close, tight walls, particularly at turns 3 and 4, and the Wall of Champions chicane. So, next week, my oh my, I like to call this the triple header of death, because we have Monaco, Baku, and Canada all in a row, and then it sort of opens up with Paul Ricard after that. But yeah, Montreal is going to be a real thriller, Seb. What do you think going forward to next week?
Well, I'm expecting a lot of time penalties, because that tends to be the way things go. But you never know. It's a good track for racing, but you tend to get a lot of incidents, especially into that Wall of Champions chicane.
Well, that is going to round out our stream here for this evening. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed all 3 of the amazing races that we had here tonight. Leave a follow if you feel like we're worth following, and you hit the bell as well to be notified whenever AFR goes live, which will be, Seb, for the next round of the Friday series in F2, commentated by Jacob, at least usually. And where are they this week, Seb? Let's have a quick look. They are going... Well, it hasn't been updated, so I actually have no idea. Let's look at the standings really quickly before we go. Combined has it. Oh, yeah, they're going to Spa, Seb. They are going to Spa for the F2 cars, and that is going to be quite the wild ride. Well, a bit of a testing as well, Seb. Rouge ready on? Flatten F2.
Rouge ready on?
Flatten F2
on
the
really?
dry. Yeah. If you get the setup right, get the line right, it is flat. So very, very crazy scenes that are going to happen there. But that's going to end things off.
Just want to say, before we end, quick thank you to PattyPat89 for rating with a party of 15. Much appreciated.
Thanks for the raid. Hope you enjoyed the show. It was quite a crazy one. Well, enjoy the race tonight, guys, at Spa for the real F1 that gets underway in just over an hour's time. And, well, from us here, my name has been Mikhail. Joining me has been Seb, and we have thoroughly enjoyed taking you through the Tier 2 race. And Jacob, and possibly myself as well, will be back on Friday for the F2 series, and then Bait and Band will be back with Tier 3, 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time next week on Sunday, and it's going to be Montreal next. And until then, we'll see you guys then.